Breaking news coming in. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case that challenges the appointment of Lt Gen Balbir Singh Suhag as the Indian Army's new chief. Lt Gen Suhag is scheduled to take over as Army Commander on the 1st of August after General Bikram Singh retires. The Supreme Court has said that it will hear his petition next month. Deputy Editor Shiv Arun now joins me live from the newsroom. Shiv, what could this mean for Lt Gen Suhag, who takes over as Army Chief on the 1st of August?
This is a precarious situation as far as the army succession is concerned, Vedika, because remember, August 1st is when General Suhag takes over as the Chief of Army Staff, and August the 31st is when Lieutenant General Ravi Dastane, the petitioner in this particular case, retires from the Indian Army. So there's a very little amount of time, for any ruling to actually happen, which is why he petitioned the Supreme Court saying it's an emergency. You need to hear my case because there's very little time actually left, after which it won't really matter. Basically what General Dastane is saying is he has petitioned a court against the appointment of General Suhag as the Eastern Army Commander a couple of years ago, before he became the Vice Chief, and therefore until that petition is heard and disposed with, he can't become the Chief of Army Staff. Now what the Supreme Court has said is they've admitted the petition and they are willing to hear it. They'll be hearing it sometime in the in the second week of July, just about 2 weeks before General Balbir Singh Suhag takes over as the Chief of Army Staff. So it's cutting it really fine. It depends on what the Supreme Court will actually rule. Now, we of course can never, second guess or sort of preempt what the honorable, justices will rule in this particular case. So it remains to be seen whether they will intervene, on a succession that has been re-emphasized by the government. Remember, Arun Jaitley, the Defence Minister, after taking office, has said that there will be no politics played as far as the succession line is concerned, but this is a completely separate issue. This is a legal issue. There is a petition already pending in a High Court, and this is a petition in the Supreme Court saying that until that petition against General Suhag on his appointment in an earlier appointment is not cleared, it's not disposed of, then he can't become the Chief of Army Staff. So it's a precarious situation, and it remains to be seen how it will play out, Vedika.
Also, Shiv, this can be seen as a huge boost to General VK Singh's claims.
It definitely can, because remember that General VK Singh has been saying all along, he says that the very basis for his opposition to the UPA government appointing or designating General Balbir Singh Suhag as the next Chief of Army Staff was jumping the gun, simply because this particular case that General Dastane had filed has not reached its legal conclusion, and therefore there was no sort of locus standi to actually go ahead and proceed with that appointment. What General VK Singh had basically said was that it was bad in law, and B, probably malified in its intent, because it wanted to sidestep a petition that was actively being considered in the court. So General VK Singh will definitely have a sense of vindication about this petition being admitted, and that it will be heard by the Supreme Court. But let's not jump to any conclusions just yet. There have been cases in the past when the court, and I want to once again clarify that we will never second guess what how a Supreme Court will read a case like this, but there have been cases in the past where courts, not just the Supreme Court but other courts as well, have sort of taken a standoff approach as far as promotions that have been established and confirmed by the government in power are concerned. So it remains to be seen. It will be very interesting to see how the Supreme Court actually deals with this.
Shiv, last question before I let you go. What this development also does is puts the government in a precarious position. It
does, absolutely, and I think that's an excellent point you make, Vedika. The government is in a precarious position because remember, just before they came to power, they had been completely opposed. They had supported General VK Singh in his stand that this was a slapdash, hurried job being a designation being hurried through by the outgoing UPA government. But after they came to power, they took a much more measured, more considered, sort of mature point of view, saying that this is an appointment that has been made and we're not going to interfere. After that, there was that controversy over the affidavits as well. So now you've got an Arun Jaitley-led Defence Ministry which has said we will not play politics with the succession line. Balbir Singh Suhag is the chief designate. He will become the chief on the 1st of August. But obviously, our netas and our politicians, Vedika, thankfully don't have any control over what happens in the courts of law. And that's the way it should be. And that's why it becomes a very interesting situation. But you're bang on when you say it could be very embarrassing for the government, because they've played both sides. Now it's completely up to the Supreme Court to see where it goes.
Deputy Editor Shivaru, thanks so much for joining us on that developing story. We, of course, will keep a close eye on all the developments on that front.